Welcome back to Studio 5. It's a topic that really got you talking.
How do you get teenage boys to open up? When we tossed out the topic of teenage boys and communication on the Studio 5 Facebook page, you responded loud and clear. Viewer Laura May knows the struggle. We have 5 sons. She wrote, "The hardest part is no details." Andy Beckstrand loves the teenage stage and advises not to take responses that can seem rude or disrespectful personally. "Those reactions are just offensive," she wrote. "Say I love you in every conversation and in every text." Texting is the ticket for mom and Studio 5 viewer Coley Ryland, who admitted sometimes it's just easier to talk when we're not face-to-face. We liked Lisa Clausen's idea to host an informal porch talk. We sit out on the front porch either with hot cocoa or lemonade, depending on the weather. The front porch can offer a semi-private conversation, which is exactly what teenage boys want. They tend to open up and talk longer if food and laughter are involved. For Tammy Evans, carpool time is crucial. "When you have a car full of teenage boys, they don't edit anything," she says, "so I learn a lot. We have great talks in the car." And one parting word of advice from viewer Paris Lytle: "Avoid the phrase, 'when I was your age.'"
Wow, insightful right there.
Interesting, huh? From moms who know it, they are fighting the battle day in, day out. We wanted to dig a little bit deeper on this topic, so we welcome Studio 5 relationship coach Matt Townsend to the conversation.
Hello, kids.
So Darren's analogy that teenage boys are just mini men who don't like to communicate. Would you agree with that?
Yes, with 10 times the hormones.
There's the problem.
So they're trying to balance. I mean, think of it. Seriously, why would we want to talk? We don't want to talk when we're old. Why do you think we'd want to talk when we're young? Come on. It's messed up.
All right.
So 5 keys. Now, the interesting thing, my keys are the exact same thing you heard everyone talking about. We've got the right ideas. The problem is we've got to kind of put them all in a context. Okay, so let's set the context. Rule number 1, you've heard me talk about this a lot. You don't follow the lead of the most relationally challenged. Got it?
In any relationship.
In any relationship. So a teenage boy is fairly relationally challenged. So we're not going to follow their lead. Even though they don't want to talk, we don't have to make them talk, and we'll get into that. But we also don't need to get mad because of it. We don't need to ignore them. We don't need to fight them. We don't need to let it affect us because they are not talking. They're being perfectly normal. The problem is you're not seeing that this is normal for them. So the key is normalize the fact that they're not wanting to talk.
So you say your motivation is key in how you approach the conversation.
The motive is huge, because if your motive is a motive of trying to get someone to talk instead of trying to get somebody to understand somebody, that's going to be a problem. Your goal of getting me to talk is not my goal. That's your goal. So check your motive. My goal is I'm totally open to let you understand me more, but it doesn't have to be through talking. A lot of times women think we have to talk in order to understand. Men understand we don't need that. We could just toss a ball. We could hang out. You could watch me more. You could actually listen more. You could watch me as I engage my friends. There's a lot of ways to learn more about me than just getting me to talk. So check your motive, because if your motive is wrong and you want to get me to talk, you may not ever understand me.
Okay, so far I haven't had any talking. As we're talking here,
no.
The teenage boy has not talked back.
Not yet.
All I'm doing is I'm trying to be patient and understanding motives.
Part of that is because that's going to set a tone. The other thing is, notice what we're still doing. If you're not thinking like me, if you're not dealing with me, you're not going to get access to me. You have to access me through a part of my brain called the amygdala. That's the fight or flight. Every man and every teenage boy has a really profound amygdala. We want to fight or flight. So you got to think of me, just remember, think back to your teen days. You got to think of me as a teenager. As a teenager, you didn't want to tell mom all your secrets. You didn't want to talk about all your dating. You felt a little awkward and quirky. Your voice was still squeaking. There was stuff going on, and the last thing you wanted to do was share it with everyone, especially when mom's going to share it with everyone else. So think like a teenager. So once you get your head around it, you realize who I am, you got your motive right, and you're thinking like me, then let's start to talk. One of the best ways to get a teenager to talk, and you heard a lot of moms mention it, is what I call distract with action, also known as distraction. So if you want to get a guy to talk, just get him doing something else while you're talking to him. Get him to go shoot hoops, get him to go walking or running with you, get him to play a pool game, or get him to play something or do something while you're talking to them. Men aren't notoriously good multitaskers. So if you actually, no, it's statistically true.
Breaking news, you heard it here.
Yeah, I saw it on the news. It's totally true. So if we're not good multitaskers, all you have to do is pretty much put us in a multitask, but don't shine the light on talking. That's where you make the mistake. Shine the light on shooting hoops, then talk to them. Once they're shooting hoops, they're going to think they shot hoops all night, and you will have had an hour conversation with them. Help them clean their room. Instead of yelling at them, go down and help them clean the room, and while you're cleaning the room, talk to them. Okay? All of a sudden, they'll do it. That's how, in fact, that's how we fall in love with our dates, is by going bowling, and then we're talking. We thought we were playing miniature golf, but you were talking to us the whole time. Got it? So distract us. And then the last one is you've got to play by our rules, okay? Some of our rules are, don't tell us, don't make us look you in the eye. Eye to eye is kind of a dangerous thing if you think about it.
So if you're sitting on the porch looking out at the street, that's fine because you're both staring
That's
at
exactly
something
right.
else.
So that's a great way to do it. See, but think about it. How many times do you see two men eye to eye? It's just not natural.
Usually right before one of them gets punched.
That's exactly right. So you'll even see when men are talking, they actually turn. Even if it's like serious, we turn to the side. Foul. So we don't like the eye to eye. Don't you dare cry, because we don't know what to do with eye fluids. Okay, that totally throws us off. Don't seem worried. Because if you're worried, you're going to project on me something's wrong with me. Remember, when you're engaging a man or a boy, you're always engaging our ego too. So if you keep thinking, why aren't you going out tonight with friends? What? When I was a kid, I always went out with friends. That's the worst thing on earth you can do, is project you're worried about how messed up I am. Or otherwise, we're not going to talk. Another thing is, don't you dare go talk about me after. Don't let it get back to me that you're talking to the neighbor lady, that you're talking to dad, and it's coming back to me about what we talked about.
You've got to maintain that
Loyalty is a huge deal with guys. So if you think about it, they're fairly basic rules, but don't chase us, don't follow us. Check your motives, make sure it's to understand, not to talk. Don't default to talking is the only way to understand. Default to understanding. Think like a teenager, distract with action, make sure you're active, and play by their rules. Let them lead you into a conversation, as little as it might be.
The teenage boys, they're a confusing breed out there, but
aren't they great?
There's the way to crack open the heads. Thanks,
right.
Matt.
Good stuff.
you,
Hey,
guys.
rumor is date night is filling up for Valentine's Day.
It's almost full, in fact.
Really?
So hurry. This is going to be a killer one. This is with, I'll do about an hour about reigniting the spark, and then Peter Breinholt, a friend of mine, will do a 1-hour concert. Tons of fun. February 14th, 7 o'clock. Call 801-747-2121 or go to matttownsend.com to register.
Thank you, Maddie.
Thanks,
we'll be right
kiddos.
back on Studio
Day,
5.
by the way.
Is that like Scottish there?
That's